Hey, how you doing? Nick James here. Welcome to episode number 2 of the still to be named show. We haven't quite decided. Had lots of good suggestions, so thanks for those. But we still haven't quite nailed down and decided. I've just noticed the car seats in the background. Classic. Doesn't quite give the vibe I'm trying to achieve here on this cool new show. But anyway, it's fine. I'll make sure we move it to the next one. So what I wanted to talk about today, I had a really interesting phone call with one of my best friends the other day, Andy Harrington. And Andy, of course, is well known here in the UK as a speaker, and internationally. Travels all over the world, speaks at huge events in Australia and the States and all over Far East and so on. And you know, gets in front of huge audiences, multi-thousands. I think he's spoken in front of as many as 7,000-8,000 people at any given event. Let's just say that Andy has done very well and has made it as far as a speaker would be concerned. And I was talking to Andy, and he'd just been speaking at a free event that he was running here near where I live in Birmingham. And I said to him, how did it go and all this? And he went, well, it was only a little one because we've just been kind of starting to do the testing and the marketing for other locations outside of London. So this one had 22 people in it. And I went, mate, seriously, like, you've trekked. He lives in Kent. He's got the train into London and then the train up to Birmingham early in the morning to do a full day of free event in front of 22 people. And I was like, dude, hats off to you. Like, that is grafting. Like, and he went, mate, you got to do whatever it takes. Like, you can't just sit around waiting for speaking gigs in front of 6,000 people. And yes, of course, he gets to speak at big events and some of my events and things like that, alongside people like Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk and all these great well-known speakers. And of course, when he does, he gets very well paid for doing so and generates a huge amount of sales in one 90-minute speaking slot. But if you're not willing to do the bit that nobody else is willing to do, if you're not willing to do the 22 people in Birmingham, we likened it when we were having the chat. He went, it's a bit like going to Halifax on a Tuesday night and grinding out a 1-0 win. That's what it takes to be a champion. That's what it takes to win the league title, if you like, in football terms, because we're both big football fans. Go on the Villa, beat Birmingham City 2-0 on Sunday. Get in. Actually, I don't know how AFC Wimbledon are doing. That's Andy's team. I should have asked him. But you've got to be willing to grind out the 1-0 on a Tuesday night in Halifax if you're going to be a champion. You can't just have all the glamour ties, as it were. And I suppose in Andy's world and my world, the glamour tie for me is an event like Expert Empires with Grant Cardone. We're going to have like 1,000 people there in the room. Biggest and best event I've ever done. And Andy will do his Power to Achieve event. He just had 1,200 people over 3 days at Power to Achieve last weekend. So yes, we all want, of course, the big speaking gigs, and we still all want the huge accolades and recognition and the income that comes with it. But unless you're willing to do the graft and grind out a 1-0 at Halifax on a Tuesday night. I don't know why it's Halifax, by the way. No offence to anybody in Halifax. Just seems like a real horrible place to go and play football on a Tuesday night when it's middle of winter and it's cold and wet, rainy and horrible. But nothing against Halifax. Never been there. I'm sure it's lovely. But I suppose the key thing is that you've got to be willing to do the grunt work. You've got to be willing to do the bit that no one else wants to do. Another example of it is picking up the phone. So many people that I meet who are, coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, authors, and they only want to do, they want to make videos and build a profile online, and they want to go and speak on stage at events, but they don't want to pick up the phone and have a sales conversation with somebody one-on-one to get them to become a client or to get them over the line to buy a certain program or whatever it is they're offering. And I just think you've got to be willing to do that stuff, the bit that no one sees. No one sees the fact that I am working sometimes, as my wife will attest to, very late, speaking with contacts in the States about sponsorship for our events, things like that. You've got to be willing to do that. You can't just allow somebody else to do all the hard work for you, expect it all to magically happen. And I think when you're just starting out, even more so, even more important, that you're willing to do the grunt work, like that you're willing to go and some of my recent clients that I've started working with want to grow, you know, international speaking businesses, and I've said to them, I've gone, look, you know, my recommendation, like in the property space, we've got quite a lot of clients that we work with who are experts in certain property strategies, and I said, look, you know, I would, if it was me and I was trying to become an international property speaker, which I'm not, by the way, but if I was, I'd be going to all of the local property meets all over the country. You know, sometimes, you know, it might be 10, 15 people, you know, let's say you're based in London, it might be 10 or 15 people in like Newcastle on a Wednesday night. It's like, go do it. You might not think it's a great use of your time, but two things. Number one, you never know who's in the room. You never know, there might be somebody in the room who just happened to stumble across that property meeting that night and thought it might be worth checking out, and they are, you know, a world-renowned promoter, you know, a property expert, whatever, that can endorse you, that can put you in front of large numbers of people. You just never know what opportunities are going to be available to you. You know, and Andy, by the way, when we had this conversation earlier in the week, he said they did, I think, out of 22, they did 9 sales. So go on the Birmingham. Us Brummies obviously love Andy. It's not just me. And 9 sales at like a couple of grand for his 4-day speakers university. So, you know, not a bad day's work. 18 grand in sales, less a bit of cost, you know, good profit on that day. You know, and if he'd not been willing to trek up to Birmingham on you know, on a weekday, get up early and not get home till late to speak in front of 22 people, never would have happened. So I think you've just got to appreciate the work. When you see somebody like an Andy Harrington or a Gary Vaynerchuk or a Grant Cardone or whoever it is you follow and look up to, when you see somebody at that level, I guarantee they have grafted out the 1-0 at Halifax on a Wednesday night. Like, they have. That's what it takes to get to international level. You got to be willing to play in the lower leagues first, I guess, is the metaphor. So I hope you enjoyed today's little video, episode 2 of the yet to be named show. I'm sure we'll come up with a name by episode 3. So when I shoot that in the next day or so, we will have a name for this baby. So hope you enjoyed it. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what have you done? What have you done? What's your equivalent of grafting out a 1-0 on a wet Wednesday evening in Halifax? What's your equivalent of playing in the lower leagues, and what you've had to do to get where you are today? I'd love to hear that from you as well. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.